How about that for a Tuesday night thriller? India playing back-to-back, 3 days, 2 games, 2 wins as well, and they have qualified for the Asia Cup 2023 finals. How worried were the Indian fans about the combinations, who will play, who won't play? But it's all turned out rather well. Another big win, and they will pick up, the campaign will pick up a lot more pace and momentum as India go into the World Cup. Mr. Bhogle and Mr. Karthik are in the house. Happy people and relieved people.
Not so relieved, Mr. Batavia, as the Pakistan fans are. Because they were watching it just as closely because they were almost certainly gone.
Yep.
If Sri Lanka win this, Pakistan almost certainly gone. They would have to turn up and beat Sri Lanka by some ridiculous margin.
Yep.
So from that point of view, yes, pluses for India. Couple of worries, but pluses for India. Kuldeep is bowling beautifully again. He's looked India's best bowler through the middle, which is what his role is. Bumrah again at the top, giving you 2 wickets. That was a plus. Jadeja steady. That's his role. Akshar, I think, was the disappointment on a track like this. I want to check with DK whether the ball might just have got a little damp because Indian spinners didn't look as menacing as the Sri Lankan spinners.
Yep.
So, and the good thing is they can now try out a lot of people in the next game. They can rest players, So it's a very good result from just beyond qualifying for the final.
Dhananjay De Silva almost gave India a scare, and the depth of that batting is something that a lot of other teams will now make note of.
Dunit Villalage, more so, the way he batted the tempo along with Dhananjay De Silva, batted really well.
Yep.
Yes, Dhananjay De Silva's role as a batter is to take the team through, and he was doing that till the shot he played to get out of Jadeja. Dunit Villalage was, touted as a hero for them post the Under-19 World Cup, and you can see why they rate him so highly. Very, very good with the ball, and also seems to be very efficient with the bat. So some good signs for Sri Lanka on that front. But India should be very, very elated and happy. Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma should have a good night's sleep because they've played a game where they've been pushed to the pump, and they've found a way to come out of it rather successfully with almost all bowlers standing up. So it's been a good, solid team effort. Always a great feeling when you defend low totals. 213, defending it and winning it by 41 runs tells you a tale in itself. Dunit Villalage, as I said, has batted really well. For me, the star was Kuldeep Yadav. Bumrah again with his first spell was brilliant. Siraj, effective. Hardik Pandya looked very good. He bowled a lot of really good balls till he got out that wicket of Tikshna when things felt like they could get away. The only person that disappointed, I wouldn't say, concerned a bit was Akshar Patel. I have a technical reason for it. As we speak, we'll come into that. Though I feel it was a good effort by all round. The bowling was very, very good from India's team.
Yeah. The batters took the game away against Pakistan. It was the bowlers that helped India storm back. It was always a test that was going to challenge the captain, but everyone put their hand up. Pretty much everyone.
Slightly worrisome too that when the ball started to turn and grip, India lost wickets in a bunch.
Yeah.
If you look at the follow wickets for India, I was just looking through it a little while back. India lost wickets 154 for 4, then 170, 172, 178, 186. Lost them in a bunch, 80, 90, 91. That was the worry. I thought Villalage bowled beautifully. Yep. He's my player of the match. Sometimes we tend to focus too much on which side has won. I've always believed player of the match is the best performer of that day. If he can contribute towards winning, that's a big plus. But I still think he's my player of the game today. I thought he batted with a lot of composure. But the two worries, yes, Akshar to some extent, and the fact that when the ball started to turn and grip, India's batting looked a little vulnerable.
It's good to be tested like this, right? For the bowlers to be tested with not a big total in their pockets augurs really well for future tests.
Very, very good. India needs these kind of acid tests now and then. Yeah. Yesterday, Pakistan's coach had come out and said it was a reality check for us. It was a great game, a good experience because we have not been beaten in the last 3 months. So to have played a game like this actually puts into perspective the areas we need to improve. India again, yes, they have come out on the side of winning today, but they've been pushed to their limits. The batters have been tested. The bowlers have been under pressure right from the start, defending a low score. So they'll be very, very happy with how they went about things. Ominous signs for Team India in the near future.
3 spinners in that Indian lineup. What story does the bowling card tell you? Yes, Akshar Patel struggled a little bit, but let's talk about the most successful man. Kuldeep Yadav is on song. Of course, the big news of making it to the World Cup squad as well would have buoyed his confidence a lot.
He is becoming slowly India's MVP with the ball. Most valuable player. If Bumrah continues this form, that's a big plus for India. But Kuldeep's role is take wickets through the middle. And today, even though Jadeja had a few good overs in between, Kuldeep was the one who looked most likely to take a wicket. I wonder if they should just prevent people from seeing him or just rest him. He's bowling very well. That doesn't happen, of course. He needs to bowl as much. There are no secrets left, but he's bowling beautifully.
It's a delight to watch, isn't he, when he's got that rhythm going?
Beautiful. You don't get to see many good Chinaman bowlers over the years, so it's great to see him doing what he does. Left arm Chinaman is a rare skill. Not many people pick it up because it's a tough skill as well, and you don't have many coaches who understand that skill. So to see him do so well is very, very good. He's got a very nice action, lovely run up. His leading non-bowling arm rather goes in the line of the batter these days. So these are all the positives if you see when it comes to Kuldeep. But beyond all this, there's a mental side to it, and he looks like he's a man who wants to make a mark. I personally felt in the 2019 World Cup, he was doing so well, but still they didn't, not 2019, sorry, 2021, 2022 T20 World Cup. I thought he would have been a game changer, but it is great to see his name as number 2 in the fastest to 150 ODI wickets. Number 1 is sitting outside in Team India, which tells you how strong we are as a team.
And number 3 is deciding whether
number 1 and number 2 should be there. So
Number
4
4
is So we have a lot of people who seem to have good things to say about Team India and the way they are playing right now. But Kuldeep Yadav bowling well is the biggest tick box for this Asia Cup when it comes from the bowling department. We all know what a Bumrah can do, but what he can do with the new ball is phenomenal. What he can do at the death in terms of picking wickets is great. But through the middle, you need a wicket-taking bowler. And for us, it is Kuldeep Yadav for sure.
He must have seen what Velalage did in the first innings and said, if finger spinners can do that, this is what wrist spinners can do.
No, but also I think with that greater control and with a greater pace through the air, if someone tries to go after him, that was what was coming in the way for Kuldeep earlier on. Because he was slower through the air, people could target him sometimes and go after him. I think now if they target him, it might play into his hands a little bit. From that point of view, he's a more dangerous bowler. But definitely at some point early in the World Cup, somebody is going to target him. I won't be surprised if that happens in the first game in Chennai, because Australia just playing that brand of cricket. So, I mean, it's still some time away. It's on the 8th of October. But Kuldeep versus Australia, something that I'm already starting to get a little excited by.
How good is he bowling is summed up by the 9th wicket that fell. A googly pitching around leg stump, first ball to a batter, hitting top of off. That is a great feeling. It tells you he's in rhythm. Remember, he is just coming into a new spell to have come and immediately bowl that ball on the money, pitching it perfectly, understanding how much it needs to turn and hence where he needs to pitch. It was a beautiful, it was a master at action. And yes, the 4 wickets great today, 5 wickets even better yesterday. But just that one ball sums up how well he is in terms of rhythm. And that is what you want to see. When we spoke about Shreyas Iyer as well, just the 10 balls, but the rhythm that batsman is in, that's what you want to achieve. Because when you're in rhythm, they all have the capability to do special things.
My favourite among the 9 wickets that he took was, interesting, was the wicket of Fahim Ashraf. He can bat. I know it is the last wicket, but I thought he beat him with nip of the deck, which is something I've so wanted to see from Kuldeep. It is something that defines the wrist spinner, and he just ran through his defense, which I enjoyed watching. As you know, I love wrist spin, but I enjoyed watching that.
I have a strong feeling the late Shane Warne, watching from up above, will quite enjoy. He's been Kuldeep has been a big fan of him, and vice versa. He's really enjoyed that.
I've seen Warne get emotional. I was doing commentary with Shane Warne when he took 5 in Sydney, and he said when he got the award, he said it means it's very important for me that my idol is sitting there and he watched me. And there's Warne, if anyone met Warne, Warne is this big bluster. And suddenly there's Warne getting a little emotional, he said, oh, that was very kind of him. I said, Warne, that's not you. But yeah, on that tour, every time Shane Warne was coming to the commentary box, he'd stop by where the Indians were at the nets and sit and chat for 5 or 10 minutes with Kuldeep and then come along.
We will talk about one more of Shane Warne's protégés, the rock star Ravindra Jadeja. But before that, he spoke about pace, Kuldeep's speed. What is the right speed for Kuldeep and why is it so important for him?
This is fine.
Anywhere between 82 and 85 is an ideal speed for Kuldeep. And it is not the speed. When you want to talk about speed, it's more from the shoulder. But if you're finishing your action well, which means using obviously your hip, your non-bowling arm, your run-up and everything is in sync and the rhythm is there, then exactly what Harsha said will happen. That skid of the wicket will come because of the revolutions you impart in the ball, which means you're finishing the action well. And when you do that, you can see the ball skids of the pitch, skims of the pitch. It's a bit like throwing a stone on a small lake where it just skims, and that's the kind of feeling you'll get where it pitches and hurries on. If you observe closely Fahim Ashraf's ball, he didn't pick it. It was a little late, but when he went to when he went to play the back foot punch, he had time, but it skidded on so fast, took his inside and hit his shoe and went back, which tells you that that is a sign of a bowler in good rhythm when you're not finding time to play him off the back foot.
There was a 63-run partnership between DND, Dhananjay De Silva, and Dimuth Velalage. Is when Ravindra Jadeja comes in and gets India the breakthrough they most needed. He got the wicket of Dhananjay De Silva, caught Shubman Gill. Why is Jadeja so special? He was getting sharp turn on this pitch, which Akshar Patel wasn't.
What is the biggest difference between Jadeja and Akshar Patel? Jadeja is somebody who overspins the ball. Akshar Patel has a more side spin release. So today, whoever bowled well had overspin as a release. You take anybody for that matter, whether it is Dinesh Karthik or in fact even Charit Asalanka to a point, overspin. So whoever bowled overspin ended up turning the ball a lot more. For me, actually, the best bowler in terms of the number of times he got to beat the bat and the batters were most worried about was actually Ravindra Jadeja. Yeah. A lot of times it went very close to the off stump when he got them beaten. An edge obviously fell short. A catch dropped of his bowling at deep mid wicket by Ishan Kishan. So he was causing a lot of trouble to the left-hander. This pitch worked beautifully in favour for him. Akshar Patel on the other hand, slightly further away from the ear and has a side spin as a release. And because the ball's revolutions like this, he didn't get enough turn and bite off the pitch, and that's why they played him a lot more easier compared to Jadeja, who they were very, very worried. It was a very, very ordinary shot from Dhananjay De Silva, because you got to understand, he was coming to the end of his spell, looked the most threatening. He was threatened by Jadeja the most. It wasn't actually Kuldeep who was troubling him. It was Jadeja. He knew it and still take that bowler on over mid-wicket because instinctively that shot was something that came to him, is what sets him apart from the greats of the game. Those players will still bide that time and then take on other bowlers, and that's the learning curve for Dhananjay De Silva as well.
Hasn't that been the story of Jadeja's career? When India is in trouble, he brings out that warrior spirit, keeps hustling and just somehow makes things happen.
If Jadeja, the bowler, can come to the party, then it will benefit India enormously. Because at the moment, India is seeing him and Hardik sort of fifth, sixth kind of bowler. I don't think India have budgeted for 10 from Jadeja. If India can get 8, 9 overs from Jadeja, it just changes things so much. Yeah. So 10 overs 2 for 33 will be very high. He won't get these pitches every day. Yeah. But 10 overs 2 for 33 was fantastic from Jadeja today.
There is a theory that he might be a lot more dangerous if he bowled a little bit slower. Do you agree?
Today's pitch, even when he bowled fast, it was turning. If that is happening, just stick to your guns, bowl fast, and that's why he's so effective on turning pitches as well, because he can bowl it at good speed. He's got shoulder strength and he's got a great repeatable action, so you can see that he's able to do it over and over again. So the fact that he's able to land it on length consistently is his biggest strength, and at speed as well, and that's what sets up Jadeja from the rest. And in this pitch, what he did was brilliant. Just kept bowling it at the same pace, but kept varying his line a little bit. And you can see for him in these kind of pitches, he's one of the hardest to face.
It was a treat to watch Jasprit Bumrah as well with the new ball and that the variety to get rid of Kusal Mendis. He's showing newer tricks. He's experimenting. He's showing the confidence. He's running in quickly. It's a delight to watch.
He's done this before. He's never been afraid to bowl the slow ball up front. Over the last 2-3 years, he's bowled that slow ball, but coming back and from after a long layoff and being confident to bowl, that means he's back to his rhythm. Yeah. And that is what I liked. But I mean, as a fast bowler, still the first outside edge that goes behind is the wicket that you want to see for Jasprit Bumrah. Just as you wanted to see the Imamul Haq wicket, similarly you wanted to see the Pathum Nissanka wicket. When a fast bowler gets wickets like those, that's... This is deceived him in the air, that's okay. But a fast bowler swinging it, getting the edge, caught behind, that's great to watch.
The whole of India said, oops, when he had that ankle twist. That looks scary.
Anything when it comes to Jasprit Bumrah, Hardik Pandya is always scary.
Yes.
These are players that are not
for 2 more months, please.
Touch wood. I mean, we're all having our fingers crossed. They're special players. Certain players are irreplaceable, and these two fall under the bracket where if something happens to them, India can't in many ways manage to find another player who could be an able replacement. So they're very key players of this team. Jasprit Bumrah is an absolute diamond for us. So we just hope and pray that he stays fit through the tournament, and he'll, in many ways, will put up performances which Team India will be very, very happy with.
Rest him for the next game?
100%. I would rest quite a few players. They played 3 days on the bounce. I would go for Jasprit Bumrah and even Siraj for that matter. I'd give Kuldeep a break. I'd give Virat Kohli a break. So, there's a lot of options for them to take breaks because there are a lot of players on the fringes. Somebody like Surya Kumar, Shreyas Iyer needs game time, and also Shami and Prasidh. Just the fact that he's a backup bowler to get an opportunity is good for him. And also 3 days rest will give them enough to recover and come back into the finals because India have played 2 solid games here.
Is Virat the kind of guy who will say, I need a break, or will he say, listen, number 48 on the cards, let me go for
Now,
it?
let me ask him that. I think the Virat of 28 years old or Virat of 30 years old would have said, no, I'm playing. But the Virat of 35,
I think he'll be happy with the break. He's somebody who's been very clever with how he operates with his body. He'd rather train, be mentally fit and ready to go. He'd rather get the 48th, 100 in a final than get it against Bangladesh. Knowing him, he's hungry for runs, but he'll also bide his time. He knows there are bigger things in the near future, and he'll be looking to achieve all those milestones along the way.
Where did Sri Lanka go wrong? Let's pull up their batting card to see where they could have done something different. It's a 50-over game. You'd want one guy to last. Who is that one player, Harsha, that should have taken the responsibility of staying longer?
Dhananjaya De Silva.
Top order?
Top order, yes, but the top order got done in by good bowling. Bumrah got 2 wickets up front. I thought even the ball that Siraj bowled was very good. Kuldeep Yadav got 2 very good wickets. So they got done in reasonably by good bowling. That can happen. But when they had got into a position where they could have challenged India, you could see Rohit Sharma starting to look a little grouchy. That is where. So I thought the one batter who could have taken them over the line, because he had the pedigree to do that, was Dhananjaya De Silva. The top order, yeah, they got out to good bowling.
Sri Lanka's batting report card for you.
Lack skill to play on these kind of pitches. It's very obvious. You need a certain amount of skill to take on a Bumrah and a Siraj with a new ball. And you can clearly see there is a bit of a gap between the Australians, Englishmen to what the Sri Lankans are doing right now. It's very evident in the stroke play and how they approach an inning like this. You would have seen a very different Australia or England approach. They'll come attacking a lot more. And for that you need a lot of skill, and that isn't available in Sri Lanka right now. But their strength has been in these recent past how they've found a way to have new match winners at different points of time. They've had 7 match winners. We have been discussing these man of the matches in the last 12 games of the month. 7 different players. So different players have stood up for them. Today, after some time, Dhananjaya De Silva batted well. Here was an opportunity for him to finish the game because he had Dunit Velalagi was in there with him. If there was a Tikshana or a Patirana, I can understand that shot. But considering that he had a batter who was doing well at the other end, I thought he mentally gave it up a little bit. He was just batting, playing the shots that he knows. If you go and ask any great player, all of them have a lot of shots, but they will bring it out at the right time. Sometimes they will bite the bullet and say, okay, this guy is bowling well on a certain day. It's okay to give him respect. There are other bowlers who I can take on. That's where you need to be clever as a batter.
Was Dhananjay's wicket the turning point?
Oh, yeah. Knowing how to bat is one thing. He knows how to bat. Knowing how to finish a game requires a different approach. That is in the head. Knowing how to bat is your batting skill. Do you have the right footwork? Can you pick the ball in the air? Do you know what shot to play? Can you pick the gaps? All the batting skills. Knowing how to finish a game requires you to know which bowler am I targeting? What is the situation at the moment? How do I play the situation? That is the development of a player from age group cricket through to top cricket. And I think that is where he'll be disappointed because he showed he had the skill to play on this surface. So maybe that is where Dhananjaya will be disappointed. Why was Dhoni a great finisher? Why was Kohli a great finisher? Because they knew what to do in different situations and how to take the game deep. I mean, I've often said Dhoni gave everyone heart attacks, but he was cool. So he was calm. He finished in his prime. Nobody finished games better. And you could see where Kohli has learned to finish games from the fact that he saw Dhoni finishing games over there. That was what you look for in a player. I mean, when you're seeing the scorecard or you're seeing a game, you say, did he take the team home?
Yeah.
Which is what Yuvraj would do very well in that purple phase. Rahul Dravid, Yuvraj, Mohammad Kaif for those 2 or 3 years, and then Yuvraj for much longer. They would take you home. When you're batting at 6, you rarely get the opportunity to score 80, 100, 90. whether you're 20 not out or 32 not out, your job is to take the team home if you're the last recognized batter.
Dunit Velolage did everything he could, ran out of partners, 42 not out of 46, 3 fours and a 6. He doesn't look like a number 8, does he?
And let's not praise him too high right now with the bat at least. I feel that with the ball, he is very good, a very good find for them. Looks like he's somebody who will play Test cricket very soon for them because his consistency in length is very good. As I said, he bowls overspin, which is very, very helpful in most conditions. When it comes to the bat, he's got his limitations. He's not somebody who has a flamboyant stroke making. He is definitely not going to be one of those who's going to be consistent with the bat in terms of run making, but he'll constantly produce that effective knocks that you want. And he looks like a guy who's in with a fight. He's not going to give up so easily. Now, that's an attribute that could be missing in the Sri Lankan team, and that is where he comes in a big way for them, because there will be games which are on the line, and Dunit Velolage is one of those guys who has the potential to help them cross the line. They need cricketers like that. And that is where I feel is Velolage's biggest strength. It's never going to be that he'll hit a great shot for a 6 and just stand there and admire it. He'll be a very effective batsman, but most importantly, I feel he has that dog fight in him where he'll try and get his country across the line a lot of the time.
Their biggest problem at the moment, I think, is where do you fit the captain? He seems to be a very popular person. In my interactions with him, he's come across as a very pleasant person. But those are not criteria for winning games. And I think Dasun Shanaka needs to win more games for them. Is he playing as a batter who bowls? In which case, batting too late. In which case, he has to be batting at 6. Is he an all-rounder? Then he needs to be bowling 7-8 overs per game. He's only bowling a little bit more now because they have only one recognized new ball bowler in Rajita. Yep. So he's got to find a role. Going into a World Cup, a captain cannot be searching for what role he has. And however good a leader you are, if you're thinking, what am I doing in this side? It's very difficult to be a good captain.
On the other hand, I must say that you got to understand, Sri Lanka didn't qualify for this World Cup. They had to go through the qualifiers. So they've had a very lean run 3 months prior to this. They've played some really ordinary cricket. They were beaten by most teams, and hence they were made to go to the qualifiers in South Africa. And that's around the time, just around the time Shanaka was given captaincy. But in the limited time that he's led, he's done very well. I completely agree with the point that Harsha says. He is in a bit of a no man's land. He is really set himself up very well in the T20 setup, where he goes in the end and finishes really well. In this ODI setup, where there's a lot more overs to play, his ability to play spin is coming out a lot more, where he needs to rotate. Even today, the shot that he played to get out tells me that the technique to play left arm spin is not one of his strengths. And considering where the World Cup is and how much spin he's going to face, that is going to be the biggest challenge for him. Throw him in the 45th, 46th over, he'll be very comfortable. He knows what to do in those situations. But if he has to go in the 34th, 35th over, take the team a little deeper, take the game a little deeper, doesn't look like he exactly knows how he can get there. You put him there, he'll do it. But how he gets there is still a question mark for Dasun Shanaka right now.
Well, the lone positive for Sri Lanka, Dunit Velolage, is the player of the match. At times, players carry their bowling confidence into their batting as well, isn't it?
Yes, that can happen because you're feeling good about yourself. You're not going in thinking, if I don't do well now, will they pick somebody else? I haven't bowled well. Okay, come on, you bat well. And then your focus shifts towards an end rather than what is coming at you. You're thinking of the outcomes. The moment you think of the outcomes, you're not in the present. So if you're bowling well, you're thinking, okay, I've done well, I'm there. So to that extent, yes, to that extent, definitely can happen. But I think he's a very good player in the making. He may not end up becoming a number 5 or a number 6, but if he can keep batting like that at 8, then maybe move up to 7 someday. He's a very good player. I'd like to see how he's in the field, to see if he's a proper 3-in-1 player.
3-in-1. That's my takeaway from today. 3 skills. Let's put up the points table to figure where Sri Lanka find themselves after this loss. It did end their 13-match winning streak. They've lost a game after a long time. India, that queue next to them, India have qualified for the finals that will be played on Sunday the 17th at this very venue. Sri Lanka and Pakistan in the hunt. So please simplify it for us. Winner goes through.
Now you can do it. Just one game. Whoever wins goes through.
There's no net run, thankfully.
Sri Lanka win, they go through. Pakistan win, they go through. Yes, you put the points table back on again. There's one team that's qualified. There's one team that's gone. Because now whatever Bangladesh do, they cannot get to 4 points. One of Sri Lanka or Pakistan will get to 4 points.
Yes.
But only one of them will get to 4 points. So now this is very clear. Sri Lanka versus Pakistan is the semi-final. India versus Bangladesh is the opportunity for Sky and Shami.
And the one thing that all of Pakistan needs to pray is the rain shouldn't come. If the rain
Good point.
interrupts the game, Sri Lanka is through.
Sri Lanka's through. If it gets called off, Sri Lanka's through.
Rain will always be a factor.
And there is no
Reserve day.
Are we going there again? Are we getting into that again? Oh, we've had enough.
Why are we so happy when we say there is no reserve day?
No, there is no reserve day for that game because there's another game the next day. So this time we have a valid reason for not having a reserve day.
Correct, sir. The rain is going to play some role or the other.
But the rain has allowed 2 good matches now in 2 days.
Yes. One got washed out as well. But okay. Okay. Pakistan versus Sri Lanka, a virtual knockout will be played day after in Colombo. Where do Sri Lanka find themselves after this this deflating loss? It will take a lot for Sri Lanka to sort of pick themselves up and say, we could have won this one. They've got a day to recover.
I think playing India and competing for them is a very important part of it. At different points of time, they threw a punch back at India and they will be happy with it. And I say that only because, not out of disrespect to Sri Lanka, there have been many moments in the near past where they have come and been outplayed by India. In many ways, this was again a game where they were outplayed. 41 runs basically amounts to 20% lesser than what India got, which is a plenty in an ODI game. But there were different points of time where Team India were under the pump. They knew that, a partnership not happening here and there, they could really struggle. Or with the ball, could Dhananjaya and Velalage take the game away? So these were the moments that Sri Lanka had. So they would be happy. I think the team that would be a little distraught would be how Pakistan handled India. They came in with a lot more fervor and they knew that, they had the backing of the fact that they've done so well in the recent past. The one thing that will be new to Sri Lanka is after 13 games, they've lost one. So, India has done this for many, many years. Teams which have been carrying the pride of saying we have won many games on the row, they've always found a way, right from 1983, to break a chain that's always been very, very successful. And India has been good at doing that. So, another occasion where they've beaten a team which has done well. But I think going into this match, Pakistan again will have the upper hand, surely based on skill more than anything else.
Pakistan should fancy themselves against the Sri Lankan batting lineup, but their bowling trio could see a change. They've called Shahnawaz Dahani and Zaman Khan as backups for Naseem Shah and Haris Rauf. Do you see them announcing their 11 tomorrow and a day in advance?
They could, and that will be a big call this time because all along they knew their 10 of their first 11.
Yeah.
They only had to pick one player to complete the 11, so they could announce it early.
Yeah.
This time, I don't think they will worry too much about Haris Rauf and Naseem Shah. They're not going to play them. And it would just make sense. There's far bigger battles ahead. My concern is with Shaheen Shah Afridi. Because when he dived to take that of the first ball that Shubman Gill played and he hurt his right hand, there was one very comical fielding episode where he was fielding inside the circle at short fine, I think, and he tried to stop the ball with one hand and it went through. He didn't try to use his right hand to stop the ball. He was just trying to stop with one hand and it looked like what some of us would do in junior school cricket. Yeah. That he was trying to stop the ball with one hand, which means he's very ginger with his right hand. So I wonder whether they might want to risk that right hand. If he doesn't play, they're going to get this kind of track. Make no mistake. They're going to get this kind of track. Yeah. If they don't get this kind of track, then Sri Lanka is putting out its hospitality and the red carpet out. They're going to get this kind of track. And on this kind of track, do Pakistan have the spin bowling that India had? Does Pakistan have the Kuldeep? Yeah. Does Pakistan have that kind of... So I won't be surprised if they get this kind of track and Pakistan could struggle.
How about giving Mohammad Wasim Jr. a go?
He has to, no? Because
because he's been the player in the squad before the others have been introduced. So it will be Mohammad Naseem for sure. There is no doubt about Mohammad Naseem. The biggest question is, how do you fit in a Mohammad Nawaz? Because they need 2 spinners. Is Usama Mir also an option? These are the questions that they need to answer. I think it's very obvious that Haris Rauf and Naseem Shah wouldn't play. And rightly pointed out about Shaheen Shah Afridi as well. So what is the 11 that they're going to do? For me, Mohammad Nawaz is a straight swap. He needs to come in, whether in place of Fahim Ashraf or one of the fast bowlers who have been left out, which will deepen their batting as well. Fahim Ashraf bowled decently with the new ball. I mean, with the in the first power play that they played. So Mohammad Nawaz comes in. The question is whether they're going to fit in Mohammad Wasim or Usama Mir. That's the biggest question that they want to be answering.
Yeah, they have to play Nawaz because they want to see how he plays. He's been a little short on form, so they have to give him the chance on what I expect to be a similar track to maybe win a match for them or create a dent with his bowling. He needs his bowling confidence back because he's struggling with his bowling.
Also, one other thing, just like India, they're filled with right-handers in the middle order. They have Babar Azam, Mohammad Rizwan, Iftikhar Ahmed and Salman Agha. So 4 right-handers coming up against 2 left-arm spinners there. 1 left-arm spinner in Velalage, and this is going to be an issue for them as well. They need to see if a left-hander is the answer. So that would mean leaving out a Salman Agha and playing a Saud Shakil, who is a left-hander. That is again a call that they would be looking at. Do they need to do it in this pitch? Now, they have boisterously announced the squad in the previous matches. Now here there are a few decisions for them to look at.
Changes for Sri Lanka. Is there a possibility of relooking at their batting combination? Let's pull up Sri Lanka's squad graphic to see what the options are for them. Harsha, any changes?
Unless Kusal Pereira is fit. But who does Pereira come in for? Does he come in for Samar Vikrama? But he's made runs recently.
Yeah.
Kusal Mendes has made some runs recently and made key runs for them. So I don't know where he comes in. So I won't be surprised if they go in with a similar lineup, because Madhushan's a new ball bowler, Binura is a new ball bowler. I don't know a lot about Dushan Hemant other than the fact that he seems to be a very good fielder because he's on as a sub all the time. I don't see them needing to make a change.
The only changes, if they're going to make, has to be Kusal Pereira. Is it going to be in for Dimut Karunaratne?
Yes.
That is the only area they will be looking at. How long has Karunaratne been going? What sort of returns has he given you? Is Kusal Pereira the nominated opener for you in the World Cup, or are you still looking at Karunaratne in a serious manner? That is the only question that they will have to answer. And as we said, they are a bit gridlocked in the way they have set up their team. Yep. They have Dasun Shanaka as a second medium pacer right now, and Velalage and Tikshana to obviously provide them with the spin option. So they're kind of stuck because Patirana bowls after the power play. The only big question is who is going to partner Rajita with the new ball, and for the moment it looks like Tikshana will start and Shanaka will just finish the power play.
Players to watch out for, one each?
If it's going to be that kind of track, I don't know, top of my head. Players like Kusal Mendes and all have to get runs. I love watching Kusal Pereira bat, man. I love watching Kusal Pereira bat, but I think the reason they brought Karunaratne back is they thought they wanted some stability at the top. But my player to watch out for, Dhananjay De Silva.
Pakistan?
Yeah, Babar Azam to hai.
Easy option.
Yeah, Babar Azam is the easy option, but maybe someone down the bowling, maybe someone like a Shadab Khan to play the 2-in-1 role, see if he can get wickets. So maybe someone like that, yeah. Okay. But it's a big game for them. It's a must-win game.
Yep. Babar Azam and Velalage for me.
That was quick.
Hey,
that's it.
He's not like the guy next to him thinking, no, tuck, finished.
That is it. We're done. Except that we need to find out what the answer to Joy Factor was. Let's check out the question first. The father opened for a World Cup winning team in the 1980s, while the son captained his country to an Under-19 World Cup trophy over 2 decades later. Name both. I think we've cracked it, TK, didn't we?
Yes. Harsha, as usual, got it right.
Joy came off his short run and delivered a lovely looping volley outside off with the field on the onside.
Oh, listen, we forgot to talk about Magala. You know, these two are such cricket nuts. They were watching 2 games at once. 2 ODIs. Sir, kya baat hai?
No, Magala.
Part of your World Cup.
He likes Magala very much.
And that Sean Abbott catch?
Oh,
that was something else.
That was probably
The only thing that surprised me was he didn't take the catch and celebrate. You know, yeah, man, I took the catch. We just, yeah, okay.
Harsha game in the 49th or 50th over after getting hit for 335. I'm sure he's bowled.
And he had bowled 3 overs for 30 himself.
So
This is only a little sample of what you will see on Cricbuzz Live in that 3-match series between India and Australia. Then, of course, the World Cup, which shows in English and Hindi. Who is the winner of the Joy Factor question? Mr. Dicunia sent me a tweet. Is it him again? Let's find out. Who is the winner of today's Joy Factor? The answer is, of course, the Marsh duo, father and son. I don't think we have the winner's name. It's okay. Let everyone be a winner. Everyone's a winner. So India is the winner.
Jeff Marsh opening the batting was Boone and Marsh, 1987 World Cup. Big turning point in Australian cricket. two big turning points in Australian cricket. Both came at Chennai. One was the tight test. The second was winning that first game against India. Then they went to Calcutta and won. So it was Jeff Marsh.
Were you watching the World Cup at home, or were you doing some kind of media work at that stage?
No, I was watching the World Cup at home. I was working on the World Cup, but at the back end collecting articles and distributing them.
Wow, the days of the typewriter, or was it before that?
Do you get up every morning and say, let me find some aspect to show this guy's antique?
Sir,
But I'll tell you where I was to make it sound even more antique. I was working with a company that was syndicating articles around. So I was receiving the articles sitting at the other end of a telex machine.
what world was that?
And there was a telex operator. I don't know if you've seen the paper strip that comes. You know, on telex you cut the paper strip.
I wasn't born then, Harsha.
Yeah, on telex you cut the paper strip and then you just play the strip out and tuck, 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 it goes out. He would read the article seeing the paper strip with all the holes, perforations in it. He would sit in and then you put it in. Telex.
I think we have a new clip for our show, Retro Reels. There's so much nostalgia and a lot of stories that Harsha tells us. Do we now have the winner's name, gentlemen? Do we? Mr. Reddy, why were you not ready in time, sir? Rajesh Reddy is the winner. Sir, आप तो कुछ thumbs up दे दो उसको.
రాజేష్ రెడ్డి చాలా బాగా చేశారండి మీరు. ఇలాగే కరెక్ట్ ఆన్సర్స్ ఇవ్వండి.
I got that.
He also got it. He is originally Telugu, I say.
अच्छा.
I've actually done one live interview with him in Telugu.
Really?
Oh, yes.
चलो कल से Cricbuzz live in Telugu.
Lovely. I think
Super. Although I know you want to go and do the Hindi show with Gaurav Kapoor.
I think Dinesh Karthik has many skills in life, whether keeping, batting, language, style, dressing.
The punchline coming up?
Yeah, I'm not sure doing a live show in Hindi will count among his top 5 skills.
I'm in agreement with you.
See, Mr. Bhogle's word carries a lot of weight here.
It does. Everywhere. Forget here. Everywhere.
Correct. Sir, I am also ready to go home and sleep. Tomorrow, midweek holiday. Some of us are lucky enough to not work on a Wednesday. But I believe Mr. Bhogle works every day, sir.
I think the producer is saying...
Wrap it up and go home now. Hello, ho gaya bhai. That's it for tonight. Congratulations, India. Good luck to Pakistan and Sri Lanka. We'll see you day after at 2:30 p.m. on Cricbuzz Live. Good night, sweet dreams.